Glad you could join us today on Earth Power. Welcome to the program. I'm Ayola Kasim. We have been told that more than 7 out of 10 people in Nigeria live off nature and its goods. Farming, fisheries, logging, and manufacturing are all examples of this. And then about 8 out of 10 original forests have disappeared through logging, agriculture, city expansion, expansion of roads, and building of industries. This has led to loss of plants and animals that depend on these forests. With the expected consequences of climate change, these losses are expected to increase. But the organized system of nature preserves, game reserves, and national parks, now all these also have their problems, as law enforcement and protected system infrastructure are lacking, and abuses of protected land are also common. Today we visit one nature park in the heart of the Niger Delta region. Do stay with us.
We would really love this place to be a good attraction for people, and we are because the industries are all around, and not just they all emit some gases, and some of the industries on the land, their flames are too offensive, and when such things happen and there's no place to get it in, and then we will come to cry. But we are happy today that this place is there and is taking in a lot of those their carbon. Yes.
This place is the Finima Nature Park. 1,000 hectares land of freshwater swamp forest lying along Nigeria's southern coastal area in Bonny Island in Rivers State. The effort to conserve species on the Bonny Island started 20 years ago. The nature park was established by the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Limited with the aim of conserving nature and biodiversity in the region. The NLNG says the park was established in recognition of the importance of the flora and fauna to Bonny people and their aspiration and commitment to keeping a permanent record of their natural heritage and culture. It is also part of NLNG's contribution to national and global conservation, in line with Rio Agenda 21, Ramsar Convention, and the Convention on Biological Diversity.
It's also part of the regulatory requirement in the EIA that, well, since you have taken over the land, we need to preserve the plants and animals that are native to the Bonny Kingdom. It will be very useful in research for medicine, for those who are studying botany, zoology, and we quite have a large number of people that are interested in coming to research there. And then, most of all, it has now become a tourist attraction in the kingdom.
Finima Nature Park is currently being managed by the Nigerian Conservation Foundation, which took over from the Niger Delta Wetlands Commission in 2011. The park is currently held in trust in partnership with its immediate host, the Finima community.
Our vision of a Nigeria where people prosper while living in harmony with nature cuts across every length and breadth of the country, that contributes to the global fight, ensuring that we have our biodiversity intact. And Finima Nature Park presents that opportunity for NCF to further our work. It's very interesting because it's like a tripartite kind of arrangement where you have the community, you have the company, and you have us as NCF managing the place. So wherever there are green spaces and we are called to manage because of our expertise, we'll readily go there because it fits into our mandate.
The area covers the rainforest and mangrove swamps, as well as an ecologically important area of sandy soil, freshwater ponds, and tall timber between the swamps and the beach. But like many nature reserves in Nigeria, this park has its challenges.
Major challenging is the poachers. The poachers are always there, and then they don't poach the animals anymore, but they go in to vandalize the things. Sometimes we go in to reforest the place, and they will go to fell more trees to kill even the ones that are growing. And so that's just part of the challenges. We also have the animals, what we used to have, which the people always, and then if you see our logo, which is the hippo, is no more there. Well, issues, nobody could say how the final one even left. But we had one. When we came in the early time, there was one that was actually going about. But right now, there is none.
Nigeria's population is currently estimated to be around 200 million. It is the largest in Africa. Since this population is mainly concentrated in the forested areas of the south and the major urban centers of the far north, it is these areas that have undergone the most drastic form of habitat alteration following centuries of exploitation. In the north, the principal causes of habitat degradation are overgrazing, annual fires, excessive exploitation for firewood and charcoal, and large-scale mechanized farming. During the annual migration of cattle to southern pastures, they are driven in large numbers into the game reserves. And according to reports, the Fulani herdsmen cause habitat degradation by lopping trees as fodder for their cattle. They will also attack any carnivores that threaten their animals and have been known to resist with violence any attempt to eject their cattle from the reserves. In the south, small-scale farmers sometimes encroach on the reserve areas, planting their crops. Part of the reserves are also lost to mechanized agriculture, large-scale plantation of cash crops and exotic trees, as well as intensive logging. Shifting cultivation and regular burning have created a broad belt of vegetation known as derived savanna between the forest and the savanna proper. It has also resulted in the fragmentation of the remaining block of high forest and the government-controlled forest reserves, so that today no significant areas of closed forest remain outside the freshwater swamp forest of the Niger Delta and the government-controlled forest reserves. Even these so-called reserves have not escaped encroachment. It has been said that 24% of their total area has been converted into a mosaic of farms, plantations, and bush fallow. Plantation of exotic trees in southern Nigeria, which began in the early part of last century on a small scale, has now become the principal method of wood production in the country. Following the failure of the tropical shelter wood system of natural forest regeneration to meet increased demand for timber, large tracts of exploited natural forests began to be planted up with pure stands of fast-growing exotics and some species of indigenous trees. Hunting is a traditional occupation in Nigeria, and the demand for game meat is very high, especially in the south, where 80% of the population eats game meat regularly.
Sometimes it has problems, huh?
Hunting takes place both day and night throughout the year, but especially during the dry season when poachers move into game reserves in full strength.
As our motto goes, we envision a Nigeria where people live in harmony with nature while they prosper. Okay? People prosper while living in harmony with nature. One of the things that we don't realize is that nature, the environment, is the #1 capital when it comes to production. If the environment is not suitable or healthy, whatever investment we put will just be a wish-wash affair. Because before you know it, for instance, if the ocean decides to bring its heavy wind and heavy currents, it might sweep off whatever investment that we've had. When there was tsunami, whatever investments, the hotels and everything that happened, it swept off everything. So that is why we should always have the environment in our mind in whatever production that we're doing.
Before now, the Niger Delta ecosystem contained one of the highest concentrations of biodiversity on the planet, in addition to supporting abundant flora and fauna. Arable terrain that could sustain a wide variety of crops and trees and more species of freshwater fish than any ecosystem in West Africa. But the adverse effect of oil exploration and exploitation has destroyed the glowing pride of nature in the region. The contaminated ecosystem has crippled the livelihood of the local people, who take pride in fishing and depend on land for survival.
The park itself is 1,000 hectares. 700 of it is the core park, while 300 is buffer. Unfortunately, there's no way you can actually do the whole of conservation without having some encroachment. And that goes without saying, because people either they want some plants or they want some firewood. So what we've done is create a lot of awareness in partnership with the community. So we go there regularly, have some kind of engagement with them, either with the market women, the elders, some different groups. But occasionally what we think will also be helpful is that we actually allow them come into a bit of the buffer zone area and harvest a few things. And because we also have a nursery where we actually grow some plants, we can actually gift them to go plant back in their area. So all of those measures we found successful in trying to keep all of this going. But you always find, there was a case we had not too long ago. Somebody actually wanted to build around the nature park itself within our given area. Of course, we went back to the community because it's actually a gift from the community and said this is not the intention. So the elders stepped in and were able to get them to push back. But yeah, so it does work. Challenges, but that's what we try to manage.
Today, the Finima Park is home to a number of species classified by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, such as the African grey parrot. The diversity here is a good representation of the Niger Delta ecology, which affords a unique opportunity for research and educational activities.
This place has been recognized as one of the global wetland center of excellence. That has just been done. We are looking at trying to make this place a Ramsar site, to improve its conservation status as well. We're trying to make it a state park. We're in touch with the River State government through the Ministry of Culture and Tourism to see how this place can be designated as one of the state parks. I'm also working with the Federal Ministry of Environment, and that's where the Ramsar comes in, and other recognition. We've done some surveys to make it an important bird and biodiversity area / a key biodiversity area. Being an island, we'll have some species that are peculiar and endemic to this island. So we are working towards the sustainability and the institutionalization of the park.
But conservationists here also have their challenges.
They have the buy-in. That's why they gave the land. The land is held actually in trust. Nobody is paying anything for the land. It's held in trust. And so if they are not having a buy-in, they wouldn't have had that. But I think they need to beef up a little bit so as that when we get people who are doing this and they are living with the people, and so when they see them, they should be able to say something and not to wait. I'm not paid for this, and that's just a natural concept most of them have. I'm not paid for this, so let the people who are paid come to catch them, and that's not a good way.
There is a steady growth in the population of indigenous species in the park as a result of measures put in place by the park management, which include discouraging hunting and encouraging rescue of captured animals and preservation of natural habitat.
If you go into the community, people are actually doing fish farming. People are doing real farming because spaces are there for them to farm, and all those petty farmings that they would have had from here. I think the only thing they don't have, maybe we would say they don't have wood lots where they could go to get their wood and get back. But I know in time past, they've also been encouraged by giving them stoves, and then you may say, you give me stove, who buys the kerosene and all that? That's maybe what they may be thinking about, but it's been a while. It's not as high as it used to be, but they are yet to get there. We are yet to get there.
But away from the park, many want changes. The island's beachfront crave attention, especially during the rainy season. Loss of life, household property, business time, sicknesses resulting from flood ponds that breed disease vectors are some of the impacts reported by the people. Studies of the area have also shown that there are no effective migration and adaptation strategy put in place in the event of a catastrophic ocean surge. No early warning system, no community education. As a result, the people show a great level of indifference to the impact caused by their attitude and therefore lack preparedness. Only few places on earth today can boast of the wealth Bonny possesses. a sprawling island tucked in the heart of Rivers State. The community is home to some of the world's most sought-after resources: oil, gas, and chemicals. The island has been home to the Nigerian liquefied natural gas since 1970. From here, the company prospects, refines, and exports all its products to other parts of the world. The Niger Delta is generally known for oil exploration and subsequent pollution. The Finima Nature Park is aimed at showcasing efforts that can help reverse this trend.
You get into the park, you will see a lot of places where people you will see a lot of trees fell by people because they wanted things out of it. It was serving that kind of economy, and people were happy getting in and not minding what they are really destroying, and not even having the ecosystem in mind. Everybody was doing whatever thing they want to do. But now with this, we can actually have at least the consciousness that the ecosystem should also be valued is beginning to rise. I remember the initial when we come and then we tell people, oh, don't fell these trees. Who is planting them after all? They will come back again. And so now we know that a tree really needs some years to grow. And so if you fall every of them that are standing, and then you may eventually end up not having anything.
So we'll see that the park is actually thriving and is working. But over and above that, it's a place where people now go to see what nature really looks like. Bonny has been developing over the last 20 years, so a lot of the natural flora and fauna are actually going away. Maybe as an aside, the emblem of the nature park is a hippo. But we've lost all the hippos here. People have actually eaten up all the hippos. So if we do not conserve actively, we will lose the nature the way we have it. So that's really part of what we've tried to put together. Secondly, for me, is really getting the young ones to actually appreciate nature. In the last 4 or 5 years, we've set up conservation clubs all across the school. I think actively now there are about 42 of them. And every week we have about 4 or 5 come there to try and appreciate nature, understand what it's all about. And then when I find people come to do research, either they're looking at herbs or they're looking at plants. Somebody came and found a species of fish in our pond that they say they are not sure is known anywhere else. So for me, that's something that I find very exciting. And last year we had over 18,000 visitors to the park. So that's where people go, they recreate, and just for me, it's very exciting.
Let's stop deforestation and conserve the forest, so Nigerians will live a healthy life. So Nigerians, so Nigerians, so Nigerians, so Nigerians, so Nigerians will live a healthy life.
It's called the Conservation Club. It is a meeting to kind of instruct you on the number of trees that will plant in the school environment.
The Nigerian Conservation, on its part, is not limiting these efforts to the Finima Nature Park. It has started conservation clubs across the island, and the students of Vine International Academy today benefit from this.
I joined the Conservation Club 2 years ago, and the reason why the Conservation Club was founded was to educate people on the dangers of not taking care of the environment, which is the earth, our life support system. Because if we kill our life support system, we humans die. There will not be enough oxygen for us to breathe. And my advice to people who are not yet conservationists is they should try as much as possible to keep the environment clean, because taking care of the environment cannot be done by one person. The more the number of the people taking care of the earth, the more cleaner and safer the environment will be to us.
There's a continuous heat in the environment, so we decided to kind of gather the students to tell them that it's important for us to set this club as to kind of teach people to know that we have to plant trees in the environment and make sure that the environment is clean, as to maintain the level of hotness in the highland. Because it's important that you set your environment free from dates as to reduce the amount of heat in the environment. Most of these dates that have been dropped are a kind of generating heat in the environment. So we decided to kind of set this club in order to teach them to do the right thing by setting aside a day for us to clean the environment and also to clean the nearby environment in this school. That's all.
And then you plant trees as well?
Yes, we plant trees as well. Like this one that I see here now, we planted it. Yeah. We have decided that we'll be planting at least in a year, we'll plant at least 20 trees in the school environment. But that was been done when our surveyor come into a kind of survey the environment as to enable us to know the strategic point where we can plant those trees.
The target we have is these schools. And then the conservation clubs are also opened up in most of the schools around. And what are we trying to get at that? The children will have that mindset. This place should not be destroyed. And so if our generation gets away, the new generation that will come will definitely have a better understanding than what we have. And that's our drive, and that's our goal, that the generation after us should be able to maintain and also see that these things are kept, and then they build on it and get something better.
More and more people here are being encouraged to go into fish farming and are being trained on how to earn livelihoods without hurting nature.
Well, the whole of that portion of the land was given to non-LNG for preservation, and maybe ordinarily we would have been farming there, or maybe our children, our wives would go there and cut firewood, and maybe because we're not allowed to hunt, we're not allowed to catch fish, we're not even allowed to pick snails. And those are things that help us here.
The park itself is 1,000 hectares. 700 of it is the core park, while 300 is buffer. Unfortunately, there's no way you can actually do the whole of conservation without having some encroachment. And that goes without saying, because people either they want some plants or they want some firewood. So what we've done is create a lot of awareness in partnership with the community. So we go there regularly, have some kind of engagement with them, either with the market women, the elders, some different groups. But occasionally, what we think will also be helpful is that we actually allow them come into a bit of the buffer zone area and harvest a few things. And because we also have a nursery where we actually grow some plants, we can actually gift them to go plant back in their area. So all of those measures we found successful in trying to keep all of this going. But you always find, there was a case we had not too long ago. Somebody actually wanted to build around the nature park itself within our given area. Of course, we went back to the community because it's actually a gift from the community, and said this is not the intention. So the elders stepped in and were able to get them to push back. But yeah, so it does work. Challenges, but that's what we try to manage.
Many here believe more needs to be done, especially to attract more people to the island.
For the next 4 years, I'll be developing a train, so I'll have 12,000 people working. A lot of them will come from this community, so they will have a stake here. So that will reduce restiveness. Now, it shouldn't just be the oil and gas. It should actually be, if we have this island, I don't see why we don't have tourism as part of the business. Why don't we have hotels where people can actually come in and stay? Why don't we have, lovely waterways and parks? Why are those not being developed? So I think that's really the next way to go. And it has to be a deliberate effort to actually do all of this development. The thing that we have committed to do is actually work with the community. What works for you and how can we grow all of this together? So this benefit to everybody. Yeah, I'm making profit as oil and gas, but it's more than just that. We also recognize that we have to give back, but giving back is a partnership, not me giving and you not taking.
Finima Nature Park is endowed with unique attractions such as the quiet environment where natural sounds from animals, wind and water waves are enjoyed by tourists, suspended wooden walkway, beach that gives a panoramic view of the Atlantic Ocean, a nature trail that exposes various microhabitats of the environment. Although the park is a conserved area, tourist visitation therein has increased progressively between 2014 and 2016. But many believe it can still be better.
We have a Bonnie Dubai vision, and the ecotourism part of the park is part of what we want to actually bring in together. We've been in discussion with the NCF. We're looking at things like the Skywalk and all of those. We think it's going to really grow. In the next month or two, hopefully we'll sign FID. If that happens for our Train 7, we expect to have anywhere between 10 and 12,000 people come onto the island to live and work. They have to find somewhere to recreate, and the nature park is an excellent place for them to do. So those are the kind of things that we think are beneficial. Down the line, we will continue to fund the nature park, but we see nothing wrong with actually developing some kind of commerciality. And again, it's in partnership with the community, so they're able to make some kind of income. We have put together we'll put an art shop somewhere around and develop with somebody. So using the materials there, they can actually do some kind of art, so people can come and buy souvenirs. So we think there are a lot of opportunities that the park will offer, not just us, because we're committed to it, but also to the bigger community.
Funding is one of the major problems of conservation in Nigeria. Many are looking at the Finima Nature Park model and are saying this may just help solve some of the national park protection challenges across the country. That's our program for the week. Thank you for watching our inbox file at channelstv.com. It's available for your comments and questions. You can also follow me on Twitter. From me, Ayola Kasim, and the S-File crew here in Lagos. It's bye for now.